Good morning. My name is Mr. Seagull, but you can call me Bobby. So can you say for me, good morning, Bobby? 3, 2, 1. Good morning, Bobby. Thank you. So I'm going to be your online maths teacher. And maybe some of you have come from doing PE with Joe Wicks. So I'm really pleased that you've come after doing some exercise to do some maths with Bobby at 10 a.m. So hi Xander, I'm a maths teacher, a BBC presenter for the Monkman and Seagull Genius Guide, and also an author of The Life-Changing Magic of Numbers. And that's my face looking very smiley. So I am an ambassador for Explore Learning. And we're really excited to be running these lessons, as you can see from that poster there, me modeling myself, as part of the launch of Explore at Home. And our mission is to keep education going during these difficult times. Just one thing. So on Saturday night, I was on Celebrity Mastermind. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, who won the trophy? Bobby Seagull. So I won Celebrity Mastermind. But the reason I'm bringing it up is even though my topic was England at World Cups since 1990, the most important part for me was the discussion I had with John Humphreys, the presenter, while in the chair. So I talked about our national attitudes to maths and how we can change it, and actually how everyone can do maths. But I'll tell you one thing. Often people say to me, Mr. Seagull, Mr. Seagull, I don't have a maths brain. That's actually a model of my brain. I don't have a maths brain. But I'll tell you something. So when you were born, so parents there and children, do you remember when you were in the hospital and you were just newly born? The nurse would have come around with a clipboard and they would have said, let's look at little Billy. So Billy has 2 legs, 2 knees, 2 arms, 2 eyes. But unfortunately, little Billy doesn't appear to have a maths brain. That doesn't happen. We're all born with an ability to do maths, but sometimes because things are difficult at school, we don't get things at first time, we think we haven't got a maths brain. But actually, I want to show you that all of us can do maths. So what's going to be our mantra for the lessons is, yes, I can do maths. So I want you to repeat that for me. Yes, I can do maths. One more time. 3, 2, 1. Come on, in your houses. I can hear you. I can see you. Yes, I can do maths. Good. So these lessons, a bit of introduction. So on Mondays at 10 a.m., it will be Key Stage 1. So children from 4 to 7 years old. Then on Wednesdays at 10 a.m., we have Key Stage 2. That's 7 to 11-year-olds. And then on Fridays at 10 a.m., it will be Key Stage 3. So you're 11 to 14-year-olds. And during the week, I'll also set you a brain teaser, Bobby's brain teaser. Each of the weeks will have a topic. So this week, we'll be looking at fractions. Again, I'd like to know an outline of what's going on. The other topics will be week 2, we'll do calculations. Week 3, it will be time. Week 4, measurements. Week 5, patterns and sequences. And week 6, money. And the sessions will be structured, usually a 30-minute lesson. And then there'll be 1 minute of something called Thoughts of Mr. Seagull. So I like to share positive messages about how you can improve not just your maths, but your English, science, and your attitude towards life in general. Maybe the parents could benefit too as well. And then 15 minutes of Q&A with the parents. So mums and dads, uncles, aunties, grandparents, if you want to ask me questions about maths, how you can approach it, how you can support your children, even how you can improve your own mathematics, please ask me. During the sessions, we're running Facebook polls, questions, and again, parents, you can submit things throughout. And again, nowadays we're on social media. So if you want to message us during it, after, tell us how you're doing. On Twitter, we're at Explore Tutors. On Instagram, Explore Learning _official. And if you want to get in touch with me, I'm at Bobby_Seagull. The bird, yes, children, it is Mr. Seagull _Seagull. And I'm on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok as well. And I'll do some really good maths content for that. So It's Monday, first thing in the morning. Are you excited for maths? Come on, I couldn't hear you. Are you excited? Yes, I think I could hear the second time round. So what we're going to do is, before we start, just get ourselves loosened and warmed up. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and enact the numbers just to get our brains moving through our physical action. So go along with me. Let's see if this works. So number one. Come on, do this in your house. Do you have moms and dads as well? Number two. Number 3. That's sort of 3 my legs there. Number 3. Number 4. Number 5. I think that's 5. Number 5. Number 6. So that's number 6. Number 7. Come on, get along. 7. Number 8. My legs are curved as well. Number 8. And number 9. And number 10. I'll have to put that as a 0. Okay. So my efforts weren't amazing. If you got any better ones, do send us again on Twitter, Instagram, and let us know what your efforts are. So now it's about to begin the lesson. So one thing I wanted to say is I've got this brain here. And there's actually a model of my brain for a new BBC documentary on Horizons. I'll tell you more about that later. But there'll be times where I give you the opportunity to think about what's going on. And what I'll do is I'll hold my brain for 30 seconds. And that means you can go ahead and think and try and actually come to the answer. So boys and girls, you should have a piece of paper and something to write with. Go and get that for yourself, a piece of paper and pen to write with. But here's your first instruction. I want you to go and grab 4 items. The same thing ideally. Could be 4 pens, could be 4 pencils, could be 4 toys, and bring them back. So I'm going to give you 20 seconds. So I want you to get 4 items. The same things, pens, pencils, or toys. Off you go, run, go and get it. I'm going to get it as well. 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10. Quick. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, I'm exhausted. But I think I've got 20 items. 4 items each. Okay. So, what am I going to use? The cookies or the pens? I'll go for the pens. So, initially, let's get 2 of your pens, yeah? There's 2 of your pens. And I want you to split them in half for me. Split them in half. You get 1 on either side. So you split this into 1 and 1. Now, let's go and grab your other 2 items. So again, it could be your toys. I'm going to keep my pens. I've got biscuits as well, but I might eat them. So get another 2 of your items, yeah? So you got 4 now. Hold them out in your hands for me. Hold them out in your hands. So you have 4 items, yeah? Now I want you to split this in half. Split this in half for me. You done it? How are you coming along? So you should have 2 on either side. 2 on the left hand, 2 on the right hand. Now just think for a second. If we had 6 of these items, whether they're pens or toys, if you split them in half, how many would there be on either side? What do you think? I get my brain. 10 seconds thinking. So I have 6 pens and I've split them in half. How many do I get on either side? So let's see if anyone's responding here. So the answer is 3. The answer is 3 on either side. So let's see. The thing is, as a mathematician, what we try and do is we try and understand what's going on in the real world and represent it in an abstract manner, using numbers, and sometimes for the older students, using letters as well. But let's look at the maths behind what we're looking at today. So we are looking at fractions. So sometimes, boys and girls, your parents may use the word fraction in real life, and they'll use it to represent something as a part of a whole. As a part of a whole. So, fractions are all about how many parts of a whole we have. So when we had the pens here, we had let's say with this part, we had 2 parts here, 1 part of a whole, or we had before 2 parts out of 4. And the thing is, how can we represent that mathematically? So let's see. On the board, and hopefully you're able to see this, when I had the 2 pens, if I just have one of them, you can write this as 1 out of 2. Hopefully you can see that, 1 out of 2. And then do you remember when we had the 2 pens out of the 4, or the biscuits? You can represent that as 2 out of 4. So now, actually in maths, we use sometimes what they call technical terms. It's a bit of a fancy word, but there are technical terms for the top part of the fraction, and the bottom half. So what I'm going to do, hopefully if this works, is the first time, I'm going to do a little, let's see if it works here. So I want to try and do a poll for your question. Do you know what the word is for the number on the top half? Let's see if I can post it. If it doesn't work, open card. I think it should be. So let me know if you've got the question here. Let me know if you've got the question. So if you're all good, you can still see me here. So, okay, so what I was going to ask you was, yes, so I've sent a question saying, what is the word for the number on the top half? And I can see a few responses. Daniel, Julie, Hannah, we're all saying, brilliant. I'm really proud of you. And Sharon, excellent work. It's the numerator. Thank you, well done. So I'll write that down. So the top part is called, so can you write this down on your piece of paper? So 1 over 2. And the top part is called a numerator. The numerator. The numerator. Numerator. So now, does anyone know the word for the second half? And this one, I'll write it up for you. Does anyone know the word? So I think a few of us have got it. It's called the denominator. The denominator. So we have the numerator, which represents the top half, and the denominator, the bottom half. So this tells you essentially how many of the parts do you have. So for example, I have 1 of the 2 here, and the denominator tells you the total number of equal parts that we have as a whole. So we had 2 pens, they're both the same, so 1 out of the 2. You can have 1 out of the 2. So you might be thinking, but Mr. Seagull, how else could we represent fractions in the real world? So myself here, you can see me. I can almost split myself in half. If I draw a line, like a mirror line, that's half of me. Or I could get a piece of paper. If I fold that in half, that's half of that piece of paper. If I fold it in half again, that's going to be 1/4 of the piece of paper. So things in real life can be expressed as fractions. Even this apple. It looks very tasty, doesn't it? Smells really good. So this apple here, I can express it as a fraction as well. So what I can do is, if I take a knife, and I have a nice West Ham plate, I might support a club called West Ham, and I slice it in half. Let's have a look. If I slice it in half, it's quite hard. I need to do some more exercise. Maybe I need to do more of Joe Wicks to get strong at this. So now we've got this apple, and can you see I've sliced it? So that is a half of it. Can you see? So now I've got 2 equal halves. So this is 1 part out of 2. And now, if I take the apple and slice it again down the middle, hold on, my slicing is being really put to the test here. Done it. So now, the same apple, there are 4 different parts to it. 4 different parts. So each equal part is 1. And how many parts are there in total? 4 separate parts. So we can represent this as a fraction as well. Let's have a look. So each part, let's get my pen, each part was 1. And how many parts were there in the apples? How many apple parts did we split it up into? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 equal parts. So what I wanted you boys and girls to think is, let's see if I can bring the board a little bit closer. Hold on. Someone's asked me. Again, it's a learning process. Bring it a bit closer. Okay. So I wanted you, I'm going to put a poll or a question in here. I want you to tell me what other things in real life in your house can be used to represent fractions. So I've got, for example, an apple, or I've used pens, maybe a biscuit. So tell me some other ideas that you have. And again, the lighting, we'll get that sorted. It's the first time. There'll be a few running issues, but we'll get there. So what other things? So let's spell the words out before we go ahead. So numerator, the spelling is N. So children, can you make sure you write this out? N, U, M, E, R, A, T, O, R. Numerator. So that is, imagine this apple I have 1 part of it. And how many parts are there in total? There are 4 parts. So that is the denominator. So we'll write that down again. So spell this for me, children. D, E, N, O, M, I, N, A, T, O, R. So there we have, that is the denominator. That is the denominator. So, boys and girls, we've got the 2 words. We've got the numerator, the top part of the fraction, and the denominator is how many parts there are in the entire fraction. So how can we progress this further? So one thing I'd like to say, so what ideas did we have? So we had books can be split. Yeah, I wouldn't suggest you tear your book in half, but books can be split. What other things do we have? We have sandwiches from Ava, who's 6. We've got books. We've got mirrors from Geeta. We've got cake from Jane. We've got pizza from Sarah. So lots of different things. And again, more cake is always good. So you can split a cake up. You can split a cake up into half. You can split it up into quarters. You can split it up as many times as you want. So thank you for those suggestions. So now, what I want to do is, again, maths is about trying to understand how can we apply this numerical concept and put it onto something that we can understand in paper. So let me have a look here. So hopefully I'll write a bit more clearly so you can see. So, do you remember we had the 4 apple parts? They look really tasty, don't they? They smell really good. Okay. So, what we'll do is, we'll draw a line. So on your paper, can you draw a line for me, boys and girls? Draw a nice straight line. If you've got a ruler, get one, but otherwise draw a nice straight line. So what other options we have? We've got Lego from Isla. Lego, you can split that up. Easter eggs. It is coming up to Easter. You can split an Easter egg, but I wouldn't suggest sharing your Easter egg. No. Be nice. Do share it. So you've got a line there. Draw that for me. And what I want you to do is, so you've done that for me, a nice straight line. Have a ruler. Okay, I'm going to move the board even more forward. There we go. So, on a number line, let's see. This is live teaching in action. We've got cake and sweets from Caden. Sweets can be split as well. So, what I want you boys and girls, once you've got your line, to put the number 0 on the left-hand side. Can you see that? The number 0. The number 0. Then on the right-hand side, I want you to put the number 1. So you've got that for me. On the left-hand side, put the number 0. Or left-hand side. And the right-hand side, put the number 1. Okay? So straight line, a straight line there. Good. So Hannah's telling me, Hannah Rishi, that you can see the line. I'm glad. Okay. So now what I want you to do is to split this line into 4 equal parts, like we did with the apple. So my suggestion is, firstly, can you see your line there? Put a little dash in the middle. Let's have a look. That's mine. That's roughly in the middle. So can you do that for me, boys and girls? So take your pen on your piece of paper and put a dash there. We'll come and explain what it is in a second. So put a dash there. So you've got one there. And now, what I'd like you to do, boys and girls, is to put another halfway marker. So can you see between those two? Put another marker there. Yes, we've done that. So we've got one marker in the middle and one in the middle of that. Okay, so now the third part is go to this side. Again, in the middle of that, draw another line there. So what you should have is the number 0 on one side, the number 1 on the other, a line here in the middle, and 2 lines there. And we're going to work out how we can use this. Let's see if I'm going to try and use a different color pen. I'm going to use a green pen. I quite like green. It's a nice color. So, firstly, in this, the reason why we've got, let's say 1, 2, 3, and then the 4th line, as it were, at the end is this apple has been split into 4. Or even if you go back to the pens, if I can find the pens, we'll stick with the apples. I seem to have lost my red pen. So the 4 apples, 4 apple parts. There's 4 there. So there's 4 parts to it. So this first line, the apple is fresh. Someone's asking, but it's starting to get a little bit, off. I should eat it after the lesson. So if I just take one part of the apple, remember we said, what's the word for the top part of the fraction? The numerator. I have one part out of how many parts? I think actually the green pen is not very clear. I'll use the red pen. Let's have a look at the red pen. So I have one part out of 4. So you have one part out of 4. Okay, I'm going to switch back to the black pens. Again, this is good. This is good feedback to get. So we've got one part out of 4. Now, imagine I take a second part of the apple. So now the numerator, the number of parts that we have, are 2 out of, how many parts do we have? How many apple parts? 4. So it's 2. So the 2, remember what's the word for the 2? The top part is called the numerator. 2 out of 4. Because the denominator tells us how many number of equal parts there are in the whole. And that's still the same. That's still 4 equal parts. Now the third one is, we take the third part. And again, please do write this down on your paper. The third part, we'd have 3 out of 4. Someone's asked me how long is the session. So usually half an hour. We start a little bit later. So the actual session, half an hour, then 15 minutes Q&A. And then now, if we get all of them together, 1, 2, 3, can you look? 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 parts out of 4. And what you'll notice are a few things here. So if I gave you 2 parts out of 4, what would you normally say in real life? Would you say to someone, oh mum, can I have 2 out of 4 parts of the apple? You might say that, but what you'd probably say is, can I have half the apple? Half the apple. So that's an equivalent. So actually, 2 quarters is the same as 1 half. It's exactly the same. 2 quarters of your apple is the same as 1 half of your apple. And imagine you're feeling really hungry and a bit peckish, really peckish. What would you do? You'd want all of the apple. And again, you could ask your mum or dad, can I have 4 parts out of 4? But instead you'd say, can I have the whole of the apple? So 4 parts out of 4 is the same as 1. It represents 1. It represents 1. I lost my apples there. So, what have we seen so far? So we've seen that the top part of the fraction is called the numerator. The bottom part is called the denominator. And we can split things up into fractions. Anything. So we can have, if we've got 4 red pens, we could add more pens. And actually, if we added another pen to this, we could say there are 5 equal parts. 5 equal parts. We could add another pen. You could add 6 pens, make it 6 equal parts. So you see, boys and girls, this number line, you can extend it. You can have 6 equal parts, 7 equal parts, 8, 9. Now I'm heading off the screen. I need to come back. So fractions can be used to represent so many different things. And I think that's the beauty of maths, because in real life, sometimes you want the apple and you want only a bit, or can have that bit. But we can say mathematically, I want 1/4 of the apple. So do tell your parents that next time. So we looked at real life things that can be used to represent fractions, like apples, folding that bit of paper, with some amazing suggestions about cake and Lego. And also we looked at mathematically how you can represent that. And let's have a look at one example here. Just one more. If we had 5, how would that work? How would that work this time? So again, let's draw one more number line. Thank you, Irina. I'm really enjoying this. I'm enjoying this myself. Because again, I'm not in normal school right now. So you're all my students, mums and dads and boys and girls. So let's have a look as one last example. So if we had, again, another number line. So again, this time what we'll do is, let's pick 3 or 5. Let's go for 5 parts. So again, put a 0 on this side, put a 1. And now this bit's a bit trickier. What I want you to do is split this up into 5 equal parts. So can you draw a line? Draw a line for me, a straight one. Mine's not perfect, but it's okay. You've drawn that for me? Thank you, Sarah. I'm glad people are enjoying this. Again, send your comments. And again, if you're really enjoying it, on Twitter, Instagram, we're at Explore Tutors, and I'm at Bobby_Seagull. Let us know how you're enjoying it. Send us some pictures of you having fun, because we love maths here. So let's split this up. So I'm going to split it up. So you might need your mum or dad's help for this. So 1 part, 2 part, 3 part, 4 part. Okay, this is a bit tricky. That looks like 5 equal parts, yeah? 5 equal parts. So I would need something else this time. So 5 equal parts. Have I got anything with 5 equal parts? Let's have a look. I've got 5 pens here. So for the first one, if I had 1 out of 5, you would say you have 1 on the numerator. 1 is what you have. But how many parts are they all together? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 altogether. 1 out of 5. 1 out of 5. And then now, if you take a second part, it's 2 out of 5. So again, the 2 is the numerator and the 5 is the denominator. And do you think there's a pattern emerging? We can keep extending it. So if I take 3 pens, boys and girls, there are 3 is the numerator, 3 parts that we have. But how many are there in total? It's still 5. So it's 3 out of 5. And then we take 4. I wonder what it's going to be. 4 out of 5. And then the final one, imagine you want all the pens. It's like it's your birthday and Christmas together. You take all 5 pens. So there are 5 parts and you're taking them. And all together there are 5 equal parts. So you're taking 5 out of 5. And again, the thing that we notice is 5 out of 5, you can represent that in another way. You can say that's 1. That is a whole. 5 out of 5 is a whole. So we're coming to the summary now. Let's see if I can do a quick question for you. So let's have a look at the poll. Let's have a look. So when we had 2 out of 4 pens, what is that the same as? What is that the same as? Let's have a look. This is the last part, boys and girls. We're nearly there. What is that the same as? 2 out of 4. Oh, I'm seeing lots of people getting it right. 2 out of 4. Excellent, excellent. Really good work, boys and girls. Really good. Most of us are getting it. So 2 out of 4 represents half. Represents half. And one way I try to remember the top half and the bottom half of the fraction is, I saw this once on YouTube, someone else saying this, and they would say, the number on the top is the numerator, the numerator, the numerator. The number down below is the denominator, the denominator, the denominator. Do you want to try that with me? We'll try a couple of times. The number on the top is the numerator, the numerator, the numerator. The number down below is the denominator, the denominator, the denominator. Last time we'll try that. The number on the top is the numerator, the numerator, the numerator. The number down below is the denominator, the denominator, the denominator. There you go. So that was a nice introduction to fractions. And if you think, Mr. Siegel, I think I'm comfortable with that, I can actually extend my number line, I can do into 10 parts or 20 parts, then maybe join me on Wednesday for our lesson for Key Stage 2. So that's for 7 to 11-year-olds. If you're really confident, join the one on Wednesday. So what I did say is that at the end of every session, before I do the Q&A, so parents, thank you, and Barney, thank you for the kind words, I'm going to do something called Thoughts of Mr. Seagull. So currently what I do is, on my Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, and Facebook, I share positive 1-minute videos on thoughts on how to help you with not just your maths, your English, your science, but actually beyond, how to be positive in your attitude to life. Because I think, again, I talked about the maths brain. I don't think that we're born with a maths brain. I think actually anything you want to do, whether it's being good in your reading, your writing, your spellings, you can become competent if you put your mind to it. So the lesson today about the thoughts of Mr. Seagull is about this. I want you to think of these are the 3 important things that I do every day. So the first one is eat. The second one is move. And the third thing is sleep. I'll tell you why they're really important. So eat, of course, you need to have your fruit, your vegetables, carbohydrates, plenty of water. So when your parents put food and you're like, oh, I don't like broccoli, you need to eat those good vitamins and minerals because it keeps your body energized and generated. So make sure you eat really well. The second one is you need to move, because when you have got energy and you don't use it, you need to make sure that you're moving around. And I would say, for example, at 9 a.m., before you come to my session, do Joe Wicks, the body coach, or anything else, but you need to keep moving every day. And the third thing, this is really important, because if you've had a busy day where you've worked out, run around, you've done some maths, because you all love maths, you're going to need some sleep. So get your proper sleep, 8, 9, or 10 hours, and that helps your brain to regenerate, helps your body to regenerate, and helps you get tall and strong. So please do that. So remember the 3 things are, I want you to say it for me, are eat, move, sleep. So the thoughts of Mr. Seagull, we're going to do it again. It's eat, move, and sleep. So they're the 3 things I want you to do every single day. So now parents, we're going to do a Q&A now, a Q&A for you for about 10 minutes, because again, we started a bit late. I'm going to see what questions we have. So just to remind you, on Wednesday at 10 a.m., we have fractions for Key Stage 2, 7. Yes, eat. I love that. People love it. So it's eat, move. Eat, move, and sleep. If you do those 3 things, you put yourself in a really good position. So Wednesday at 10 a.m., we have Key Stage 2 for fractions. So if you enjoyed today, come back then. And then on Friday, Key Stage 3, so 11 to 14, more on fractions. And every week, we'll pick the same topic and keep building on. So it's about to finish now. I think we're pretty much done with the lesson, boys and girls, mums and dads. But it's now just time for some questions and answers. And let me check my messages to see what questions we have next. Let's have a look. So I have a couple of questions here from, so it says, I don't know how to teach some concepts, and this becomes quite stressful. What advice do you have if you don't know how to teach something? So it's quite tricky. And I would say, like, one of the things now is that parents are being asked not just to be mums and dads, but a maths teacher, an English teacher, a science teacher. And obviously, you're not teachers, also you know your children well. And what I would say is speak to other people Again, you can contact me on social media for advice. You can contact Explore Learning, but speak to others that have more experience, whether it's someone that's a teacher, because they can give you tips and advice. It could be, again, on fractions, on a way of using practical things like Apple. So again, try and speak to other people and consult. Another question is, what practical activities can you suggest to teach fractions? I would say, actually, eating is quite great, because again, who loves Bake Off here? Me. I love Bake Off. Watching programs like that are fun, but you see things that involve fractions, even ratios. So make sure that if you're having a cake in the house, you only give them the cake if they learn how the fractions work out. So people have been asking for things like worksheets and stuff. And again, we'll be in touch with you through our Facebook page in due course. So again, the key thing I wanted to say to you, boys and girls, is about the positive attitude about maths. Because people often say to me, Mr. Seagull, I wasn't born with a maths brain. I wasn't born with this. But do you remember that lady, the nurse or the male with the clipboard in the hospital? We'll go back to that clipboard. When they were there to you, 2 legs, 2 feet, 2 arms, 2 eyes, no maths brain, that never happened. So all of us, boys and girls, mums and dads, grandparents, great-grandparents, we can all do maths. We can all do maths. We can all learn to love maths. So remember, our motto for every session is going to be, yes, I can do maths. Let's do that for me. 3, 2, 1. Yes, I can do maths. So again, thank you so much. So on Twitter, let me put all the information there. We'd love you to tell us how you found the session. And any feedback, again, things like the board, bringing it closer. So Twitter @ExploreTutors, @ExploreLearning_official for Instagram. And I'm on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok @Bobby_Seagull. And I've been told just now that we have, let's have a look. There are lots of worksheet type activities on Explore Learning. So if you go to Explore Learning website, there are lots of activities and worksheets. So please go there. So the things I'd love you to do for me is, as well as looking for worksheets, is 1, remember we did that number 1, number 2, number 3. If you've got a better video version of that, take a video of yourself with you, your brother, your sister, your mum or your dad, and send it to us on Twitter, Instagram, everything. We'd love to see. And again, if you've got any examples of fractions, send us the pictures of it. We'd love to see what sort of ideas that you have. So I was going to check. So on Explore Learning's website, so go to Explore Learning. Let me write this down for you. Explore Learning. Explore Learning. explorelearning.co.uk. If you go to that website there and you go to the club, you will be able to find worksheets and activities. So if parents want to find that, you will find it there. So let's keep the education going. Thank you. You've been really wonderful. And hopefully next time we'll get started bang on 10. No more technical issues. But thank you. I've been Mr. Seagull. Remember, eat, move, sleep for today. That's the thoughts of Mr. Seagull. We learned all about fractions. The numerator, remember, was it? The number at the top is the numerator, the numerator, the numerator. The number down below is the denominator, the denominator, the denominator. So I'm the Maths Ambassador for Explore Learning, and let's keep education going. Thank you.